Hey everyone, welcome to this week's I Paint with Sarah. We're going to paint a Bear Valley, so with that, let's start pouring some paint. We're going to start pouring paint today. We're going to do a little bit cooler painting using all of our blues and greens. I'm going to pour about dime size amounts, maybe nickel size amount of the white. Use that in our mountains. All 4 of your blues. You see a little bit of each of the blues. You want some gray. Black. Both of your greens. A little bit of your yellows. I'm using the yellow flame, but you can use either or. And a little bit of both of your browns for our bear. Now we're going to start our painting today with our number 10 brush. Get it wet, dry it off, any of your bigger brushes. I'm going to take both of my light blues, double dipping, start at the top, edges, and we're going to paint down for about a third of the painting. You could streak a little white in there if you want, but I want my mountains to pop, so I'm just going to use these lighter blues. But again, if you wanted like a little bit of white in there, you can. Getting our edges. It's a clear day, blue sky, no clouds. Again, going about a third, making sure you don't have any blank spots. Now we're going to use our number 10 brush. I'm dipping into the white, and we don't need to dry our background if we're doing our mountains. I'm dipping into the white. I'm also going to do a little bit of gray and a little bit of both my blues. And then you're going to pull up on the edge of your plate, so that way the paint is dispersed throughout your brush. And you're going to pick where you want your peak to be. Right here. And I'm just going to pull right on down. Do that twice. I grab a little more. And then I'm just going to pull back down this way. And just follow. Just pull here. And you're going to make that nice little peak there. Just not if you load too much blue, just take a little bit of white. And as it gets down a little further, you're just going to kind of smooth right on down. Now we want to make this a nice little valley, so I'm going to create another mountain that's going to be coming back down this way. And this can even almost look like a little bit of a glacier up in there. And pull right on down. You can take a little bit of your blues and gray as well. Oops. Just touch up. Pull a little bit of white right on top there. There we go. Gonna keep smoothing all this. Oops, got a little bit of white. There we go. For our background of our mountains. And you can go back, add a little more white on there. Again, you can streak a little more white where you want to be a little more vibrant up on these mountaintops. There you go. I'd say it looks pretty good. We're going to dry next before doing all of our greenery. So we're going to start creating our backdrop of the greenery up against the mountains. And what we're going to do is we're going to take a little bit of this yellow and mix a little bit of the light brown and a little bit of the light green. So yellow, light brown, and green. It's not going to be super green up at the tops of our, I guess that is pretty green. I got a little more brown in there. And I'm just going to go up and I'm just going to start squiggling and dabbing down. And we're using our big brush, number 10 brush. So again, a little bit of that green I put up here and a little bit of light brown. And I'm just going to start squiggling. Again, we want it higher on the edges, create that illusion, this valley down in here. Same thing. These are like really distant. You just dab your brush, make a little. Get a little more green in there. I'm just going to start smoothing it on out. And I'm going to take next a little bit of the lighter green and our bright blue, kind of blend some of that together. And just start squiggling. That real technical term again, squiggling down our edges of our valley. You can dab in a little bit of that darker color just for pops as well. So again, the lighter green and that bright blue, we're going to paint in the rest of our canvas. Gonna dry and then we're gonna do some trees. Now we're gonna start with our number 3. It's our smaller square brush and get it wet right off. I'm going to mix a little bit of the dark green with a little bit of black. Just a little bit in there. And I'm going to start placing, I'm just going to squiggle upward, and then you can go the other way and start placing some of these little spruce trees that are growing along the hillside. So just squiggle, and then you're just going to take your brush and just kind of dab up, creating some of these little spruce trees, happy little trees. So just dab through here, and then you turn the brush, go up a little bit, and then just use the corner of your brush just to dab in those little top layers. You take a little bit of your darker greens too on the base, kind of break in, a little shadowing, maybe an illusion. Just a couple more in here. sure to dry your brush off all the way. There's a squiggle, down, go up. Now for some of these ones back here too, you can just take your brush, go straight up and down, creating that illusion that there's more trees back there. It's your big Bob Ross moment. Happy little trees. They can be clustered together too. Now I'm going to go to my number 9 brush. It's my square brush. Let me get it wet. What we're going to do next is we're going to create the illusion that in here is that closer part of the hillside, so we can draw our bear, because again this is a little bit further away. And I'm going to take some of my yellow and some of both my greens, and I'm just going to pull straight on up some of this grass. Maybe we'll even throw in a little bit of flowers in there too. Change it up. So the illusions that we're on this side, and this is a little bit further down into the valley. You can take a little bit of your blues to throw in there too. Oop. A little happy little spot for our bear. So we're going back to our number 3 brush, the one we used on these little trees over here. And at the top of my hill, I want to start creating a little bit larger tree, just to tie all of it together. So I'm going to do the same thing, mixing black with a little bit of my darker greens. I'm just going to start out the bottom, and I'm just going to squiggle and dab out where some of these branches of this tree. And you can kind of pull up however tall you want this to be. And I'm just going to just use the edge of my brush and just start dabbing down this tree here. Use a little bit of that black underneath. If it's too dark, you can always dry it and add some more green on top. And see how that just ties all of our trees in right here. Still got a nice little vise for our bear. There we go. And I think I'm going to dry this before we pull Mr. Bear up. Now to start our bear, we're going to use our number 2 brush. You can use your number 1 brush, either or. I need some little liner. I'm going to get it wet. I will dry up my, I'll draw my bear with some white so you guys can see it, but you can also paint it straight to the brown. Or use a pencil. Just going to get a little bit wet there. And I'm going to draw my bear kind of like he's coming up and emerging, going to crawl up this hillside. So, now I am going to just draw a part up where I want his head to be. I'm just going to draw a little circle here. And then from that circle, you're just going to pull straight on out for where his nose is going to be. And his ear is going to come off right here and into his back. And there's these one right here. Pull this up a little bit so you guys can see a little better. There we go. And his leg, one leg here, and his other one can kind of be over here. Now when I'm painting my bear, I'm going to take a little bit of white and I'm going to dip into both of my browns. I'm just going to start where I want to be a little bit lighter. Grab a little bit of the darker brown And just start pulling back towards his fur. Make a little bit too much white on there. And I'm just going to paint him in brown to start. And make this leg that's behind him a little bit darker. I'll add a little more definition into their face here in a minute. And the short little strokes and direction at your fur to go. You can also mix a little bit of black and brown together on some of the areas that you want a little shadowed. It's nice to do it when it's wet, right almost behind his ear, behind this leg, even a little into the fur. There's actually a pretty ginormous head, so put his other ear. Went from a baby bear to a big bear. And smoothing them out. Now for the detail on the bear, I'm going to go to my number 1 brush, make a little bit of black on there, and water a little bit area of the black down too. And I'm going to pull out where I want his nose to be right in here. Add some little details into his fur as well, behind its ear. And you can pull, oops, a bit too much, just blend it in. And take a look at that lighter brown. You'll highlight one better. Again, use that little brush and separate where you want. Those little bits to me. Looks like he's taking a little bear nap down there. And for his eye, we're just going to take the opposite end of the brush, dip into the black, and go right down here, do a little dot, and take the top of the other end of my brush, just create a little bit on there, just a little dot of white in the corner. Maybe a dot on his nose or any extra highlight on his ear. And then I'm also going to take a little bit of the greens, and you can pull little bits of the grass in here. I think this side I'm going to pour some purple. We're going to add just a few little purple flowers for another bit of color, and I'll be done. So I'm going to pour a little bit of the purple iris next to my white. I'm going to keep with the number 1 brush. I'm going to dip into some white in the purple. And I just want to dab, make some little loop in, so I make some little dashes, and then you just pull straight on up. So you're just going to zigzag right across here, and you're just going to pull straight on up. Put that right up there, pull straight on up. And some of these are just going to be the tops tops of the flowers as well. You also want to take a little bit to your green and pull over some of the bits of the flower as well. It's a lovely little lupin hill. A few more little bits of green. And a little blue in there. A little bit down by the bear. That's pretty good. That's going to do it for our Bear Valley painting today. Remember, you can make this painting your own. If you don't want to add the bear, then don't add the bear and just make it a beautiful landscape. But we'll see you next week.